Hello, and welcome to another measuring course webinar with me, Sterling Hepburn. I'll be your host today again. Happy to continue on from where we left off last week. If you're new, then that's okay. If you have the learning guide downloaded that you've already been given a link to, I believe via email, you can go ahead and follow it on your own maybe after this, but for now, you can just follow along with me. So I believe where we were was measuring length part 3 in the course pack. So why don't we just go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen with you and let's just get going here. Okay. A unit is something to compare other things to when you measure them. The length of your finger can be a unit to measure length. A centimeter is a unit of length that is used by many people. A centimeter is this length. The paperclip is longer than 1 centimeter. The thumbtack is shorter than 1 centimeter. Okay, so here we have something to practice what we learned. So it says here, find something that is shorter than 1 centimeter. On a separate piece of paper, draw a picture of the centimeter, then draw a picture of something that is shorter than 1 centimeter. So if you have the learning guide printed out, that'll be a little easier because you could just use that printed learning guide as your centimeter. But if you don't, any ruler should have one side of it should have centimeters on it, so you can use that as well. So go ahead and do those drawings. And then why don't you just, since I can't see your drawings, why don't you guys go ahead and just tell me in the Q&A section what you drew. Okay, cool. So yeah, go ahead and do that. And I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that before we move on to the next part. Okay, looks like we've got some measurements in. So Nate says a small dot, a small rock. Milo says a piece of dust. Very nice. Ezra says the black ants in my house. Okay, good. April says did a 1 centimeter with a string. Very good. Nate says under a centimeter. Kiosha says an M&M is shorter than a centimeter. And Gayatri says an atom. Very good. Yes, an atom is shorter than a centimeter. Hello, Haley. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to give you guys a few more minutes, just maybe 2 more minutes here to give me any answers to what you drew. And you can tell me as well in the Q&A section if the object you found was longer or shorter than 1 centimeter. Hi, Andrew, and hi, Anjali. Welcome to the stream. Yes, this is a measuring class. Right now, what we're doing is we're practicing measuring things and seeing if they are longer or shorter than 1 centimeter. The practice that we're doing right now is finding that thing, comparing it to the length of a centimeter, and then drawing that thing down on a separate piece of paper. And then you can just go ahead and do that. And since I can't see your pictures, unfortunately, I'd love to, but I don't think that you guys can send those this way. You guys can just tell me in the Q&A section, the Q&A function, what you drew, and if it was longer or shorter than a centimeter. Nate says piece of salt. Very good. April says shorter. Nate says a little bit longer. Naomi says my thumbnail is shorter than a centimeter. Very good answers. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to practice spelling the word centimeter. So I would recommend just writing it on a piece of paper. So what I would like you guys to do now, as long as you're done with the measurement practice step that we did, what we're doing now is we're going to practice spelling the word centimeter until you can spell it without looking, like, you know, looking at the word and then spelling it. And obviously, since we're using a computer, copying and pasting doesn't count. So I would recommend just go ahead and write it down by hand on a piece of paper. Very good. Kiosha says, I found a leaf that is bigger. Anonymous says, a computer mouse is longer than a centimeter. Very good. April says, I did it. Okay, good. Very nice. I'll give you guys, how about 2 minutes to go ahead and practice spelling the word centimeter until you can spell it without looking. Just a couple of minutes here. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on the clock. Good job, Nate. Good job, Ellie. Thank you very good. Thank you very much. April, I'm done now. Very good. Nate is asking, what happens if I click raise hand? That's a feature that's part of this software called Zoom, but we're not really using it for our school lessons. The only real feature that you guys need to think with is the Q&A feature, because that lets me see what everyone's asking and how they're doing on the practice steps that we do. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. So let's go on to the next practice step on the word centimeter. So this one is, I want you guys to write 2 sentences with the word centimeter. Oh, and of course, go ahead and put that in the Q&A box. Anonymous says measurements should be in centimeters. Very good. Nate says a grain of salt is under a centimeter, but a car is over a centimeter. Very nice. Oh, I'll start putting these questions that I'm answering in the Q&A as well. Anonymous says, how many centimeters in an inch? How many centimeters is the cat? Very good. The piece of dust was smaller than a centimeter. The rock was bigger than a centimeter. Very good, Nate. Cosimo says, I can spell centimeter. Great job. April says 1 centimeter is short. Very good. And Adam is shorter than a centimeter. Thank you, Gayatri. Ezra says, the width of my pinky is about a centimeter and my pillow is bigger than a centimeter. Very good, thank you. Anya says a centimeter is pretty small. Okay. All right, cool. So let's go back to the learning guide here and see what other practice things we have with centimeters. So we did the one where we found something that was shorter than 1 centimeter, and then I had you guys draw a picture of that. Let's go on to the rest of these practice steps and get these, and then we'll do these before we move on to the next section, which I believe is the next page. Yeah. So let's get in the rest of this practice here really quick, and then we'll move on to counting centimeters, part 1. So the next thing is find something that is longer than 1 centimeter and draw a picture of it. And if you're moving forward a little faster, that's fine. You can go ahead and you can just read this as you go. And go ahead and do the other practice steps here. I'll be keeping an eye on the Q&A in case you guys have any questions. And once you draw the picture of the thing that is longer than 1 centimeter, go ahead and tell me what it was. Kiosha can spell the word centimeter. Very good. Great job. And Jolly says the pen was a centimeter. The centimeter is small. Good sentences. Naomi says a centimeter is on the metric side. Very good. Anjali says a toothbrush was bigger than 1 centimeter and a piece of dirt was smaller. Very good. Perfect. Ellie says my pinky toenail is smaller than 1 centimeter and my bed is longer than 1 centimeter. Good job. Nate says something that is over 1 centimeter is a pillow. Great job. April says I did it. Good. Anya drew a car. Very good. So that's longer than 1 centimeter, of course. Ellie says my bed. Milo says, let's see here. Let me make sure I get these answers live here. So pillow, toenail, toothbrush. They're great answers, guys. Thank you so much. Okay. Naomi says a ruler is bigger than 1 centimeter. Good job. Something is, okay. April says my Kindle is longer than 1 centimeter. Very good. Great answers. Okay. And Jolly says the cheese is bigger and I drew it. Thank you very much. I wish I could see some of these pictures. Guinea pig is bigger. Thank you, Tor. Andrew says I can spell the word centimeter. Great job. Aubrey, no problem. We'll just carry on, and I'll let you guys know what to do for practice on centimeters on the next step. But for now, just hang in there, and we'll be getting along shortly here. Ezra says my hedgehog stuffed animal is longer. Okay, good, perfect. All right, so we have done measurements. We have seen things that are shorter than 1 centimeter so far and things that are longer than 1 centimeter. And now this next step is here. So as long as means has the same length. So for this part, we're going to practice finding something that is as long as 1 centimeter. So go ahead and find something like that around your desk, maybe your bed, bedroom, around your house, and draw a picture of it. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to find something and draw a picture of that. And then we'll practice this next step here. So go ahead and do that. Andrew says my dog is longer. Very good. And Jolly says I drew a pencil and an eraser. Good job. Thank you very much. An eraser, says Nate. Thank you, Nate. Ezra says my stuffed animal hedgehog's ear is 1 centimeter long. Very good measuring. Ellie says my dog's treat is 1 centimeter. Good job. Nate says something that is the same length of 1 centimeter is a thumbnail. Very good job. And Jolly says bottom part of a pencil. Good job. Milo says a TV is longer. That's true. Very good. Anya says a pencil sharpener. Thank you. April says, oh yeah, okay. Did it with my, okay, that's cool. Aubrey says my dog. Okay, glasses. Gayatri says glasses to wear. Very good job. Okay. So here we go. Let's carry on, and we're going to go ahead and read the next step called Counting Centimeters Part 1. So here we go. Counting centimeters, Part 1. Measure means find out how much. You can measure length by counting how many centimeters. The paperclip is as long as 2 centimeters. The rubber band is as long as 3 centimeters. So here we're going to go ahead and do this. Make, or it says here, draw a number line. Make the length between the numerals 1 centimeter. So yeah, I mean, basically what we're doing here is a number line, right? So we have here, we have 0 at the beginning, 10 at the end. And then we're gonna just go ahead and fill in all of the numbers in between. And then what I want you guys to do is make the length between each of those numbers 1 centimeter. This is obviously a bigger example, but you can use your learning guide as a reference for how big a centimeter is. If you have a ruler around, if you can see here, let me actually show you here a little more up close. So yeah, so here I have a ruler, and you can see there's most rulers have 2 sides, or like sometimes there's numbers on one, like the top and the bottom, or sometimes you have to flip it over and then you'll get different numbers on the back. Like I have a really big ruler here called a yardstick, and we have centimeters on here, and this is inches, but we haven't covered inches yet. We're still on centimeters. So if you can find a ruler, then you can put that up on your piece of paper like this. And then you can make sure that each line between each numeral, so like between 1 and 2, between 2 and 3, is 1 centimeter long. And that will let you put things up against your piece of paper and then measure them for this next practice step. So here we go. Let's take a look at the Q&A in case anyone has any questions. Okay. Looks like we got a lot of good answers here on sentences, and thumbtack is bigger. Thank you, Kiosha. Anjali, I drew my computer. Thank you. Emma says, my cat's treat is the same. Okay, good. Okay, good. So, so yeah, go ahead. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to make sure you can draw your number line. So, 1 through 10. And make sure that between each number, so between 1 and 2, etc., all the way through, between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, it's 1 centimeter between each number. You're basically making your own ruler on a piece of paper. Here, I'll go ahead and finish my pretend big one over here. And I'll leave this page of the learning guide up, so you can use that as something to look at when you're making your number line. So 0. Okay, good. So here we go. So on your piece of paper, you should, oh, Gayatri says, I cannot find my ruler. Okay, well, that's fine. If you have, in your email, you should have gotten one of these here. Here, let me show you. This is the learning guide here. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I think, yeah, I thought that there was a 1 centimeter on this learning guide, but there isn't. You will need some kind of a measuring stick of some kind. If you don't have one at home, you can just do your best and compare it with what I'll just put this up on my screen. And then when you do get a ruler, then you'll be able to use it to make sure it's exactly 1 centimeter. But here, just go ahead and make the number line anyway, even if you don't have a ruler around. And then let me know when you've done that, and then we can carry on to the next section. Okay, April says done. Thank you. Anjali says my pen cap is 5 centimeters long. Very good. Naomi says, Mom, here we were unable to open or access the links for your information in case others weren't able to as well. Okay. Well, let's just go ahead and let's just keep going with making the number line from just by hand, and just do the best you can based off of what you see here on my screen. And then we can take it from there. In terms of the what you can download for this particular course, we're just doing we're just following this learning guide here, and I'll just guide you guys through it. You don't have to reference your own learning guide if you don't have it available. Okay, Caleb says done. Nate says I've done it. Good job. Okay. Emma says I did it. Emma and Joe Dollar, very good. Ezra says my marble is 2 centimeters long. Good job. Naomi says my bobby pin is 8 centimeters. Kyosha says done. Okay. Okay, good job. So by this point, you should all have something written on a separate piece of paper that looks just like this. It's your number line, and between each number here is about 1 centimeter long. So then, now that you've made that, we can move on to this practice thing. I think some of you may have done this already, and that's fine. But go ahead and put something you want to measure next to the number line. Put one end next to the 0 and count how many centimeters to the other end. So you're using your number line to count your centimeters. And here are a couple examples. The pencil is as long as 6 centimeters. The popsicle stick is as long as 7 centimeters. So with your own number line now, just go ahead and do that little practice lesson and put your object up next to your number line, just like this. Like, oh, here, let me show you as an example. Okay, so here's my example number line. It's a bit bigger because I drew it on the whiteboard here. But let's say I want to measure this marker. I'm going to put it up here and count how many numbers. So each number would be the number of centimeters. So here would be 3 centimeters. Let's see. Why don't we measure this eraser as well? And if you're following along at home and you don't have, and you want to just answer this question, maybe you're skipped ahead a little bit. Why don't you put in the Q&A box how many centimeters this eraser is? I'll leave it up there for a second, and then just go ahead and tell me. Okay. All right, let's check the Q&A here and see what we have. Nate says, my Rubik's Cube is about 4 centimeters. Very good. Something that is 5 centimeters is my water bottle lid. Very good measuring. My phone is 10 centimeters. Thank you, April. Nate says 2 centimeters. Okay, good. Nate, Anjali, April all say 2 for the eraser on the whiteboard. Thank you very much. That's exactly right. Great job. Thank you, Aubrey. 2 is correct. Okay. 2 centimeters. Thank you, Nate. 2 centimeters. Good job, Naomi. Good job, Anya. That's right, 2 centimeters. Okay. Kyosha, that's right, 2 centimeters. Okay, good. Okay. So, okay, good. Let's, now we're gonna go on to, we have this next kind of a big practice lesson here. Let me just quickly check the pack, the course pack here. So here we go. We're going to read through part 2 and do these practice lessons. So let me share this with you. Okay, so you should be able to see here part 2. And so it says, what are the right number of centimeters? The thumbtack is as long as blank centimeters. The finger is as long as blank centimeters. So here's just some good extra practice on measuring things. So go ahead and in the Q&A, go ahead and write that sentence down and then fill in the blank for me and then send that question over through the Q&A button. And let's take a look at some answers here. Ellie says, my phone is 9 centimeters. Very good. The Lego was 1 centimeter. Thank you very much. Anya says, the sticky notes are 7 centimeters long. Good job. The middle of my pen. Very good job. Emma and Joe say my pen is 6 inches. Okay, good. I believe we're going to be doing inches in the next section. If you can, or if your ruler has centimeters on it, go ahead and use centimeters. Okay. Let's see, on jaw. Okay, so the finger is 6 centimeters. Very good. Gayatri says 0.4 centimeters. Good job. Thumbtack is 1 centimeter. Good job. My Rubik's Cube is 7 centimeters. Thank you, Nate. Caleb says my mom's phone is 9. April says the thumbtack is 1. Milo says for 1, it's 1 centimeter, and for 2, the finger is 6 centimeters. Good job. Kyosha says the thumbtack is 1, finger is 6 centimeters. Okay, good. Very good. Looks like you guys have pretty much caught up to me here. So let's move on to the next step. So here we go. Let's do this mouse here. The mouse is as long as blank centimeters. Go ahead and fill in the blank for the mouse. Good. April says 5. Nate says 5. The mouse is as long as 5 centimeters. Milo says 5. Great job, guys. Perfect. Okay. Anya says 5. Mouse says 5. Nate says mouse is 5 centimeters. Okay, great. Ezra says my thumb is a bit more than 1 centimeter. Great work. Okay. Okay, good. Let's go ahead and move on to these practice ones. So what is the length for this crayon here? Just go ahead and use the Q&A box and give me how many centimeters is this crayon? And then go ahead and just, while we're at it, let's just get all of these done here. So do the popsicle stick after that as well. Naomi says the crayon is 4. Nate says 4 centimeters. Good job. Isaiah says the rubber band is 5 centimeters. Anya says let's see here. Anya says 4 centimeters. Good job. Milo says for step number 4, it's 4 centimeters. And for step number 5, it's 5 centimeters. Good job. Ezra says crayon is 4, stick is 5. Thank you very much. That's right. Kiyosha says 4 for the mouse. Thank you. Aubrey Young says 5. Good job. Emma says 4 centimeters. Emma and Joe, thank you. Okay. Great job. Okay, so for the popsicle stick, we've got April saying 5, Caleb saying 5, Kiyosha says 5, Isaiah says 5. Great job. Thank you, Nate. That's right. Okay. So here we go. Let's take a look here. So hold on one second. Okay, so here we go. We have this next read here and some practice lessons. So the length can be between 2 numbers of centimeters. The length of the nail is more than blank centimeter. It is less than blank centimeters. Okay, I'm just getting the signal now that our time is up, sadly. I wish I could stay and do this longer with you guys, but we are we're on a bit of a schedule here. So if you're having trouble opening up the attachments, go ahead and contact respond to the email, I believe, and you should be able to get some technical support on opening those attachments. And you can go ahead and get the learning guide there and get the course pack from Heron Books. And you can continue on your own if you like. And I believe I'll be scheduled to do another one of these maybe next week or so. Well, it's been my pleasure to host this lesson today, and I hope you guys have learned something about measuring, and I'll see you next time.